Good evening and welcome to the National Sim Racing EA Sports 500 here at Talladega to kick off 2026 Season B. Thank you for tuning in. We just finished open practice with this field and starting off a new season of National Sim Racing here at Talladega. Currently looking at last season's runner-up points finisher Nicholas Pressey in car 94. Had a rather disappointing final race, and looking for revenge, car 94 is, to exact upon last season's champion Tony Kurgel in car 13. Drivers getting up to speed here at Talladega. You're going to see them running the top their first lap to gather forward momentum, because you're going to be flat out the entire way through the qualifying lap, and any gain in momentum when you're already at top speed is going to pay dividends. The first race of the season, definitely going to be a toss-up, as anyone can win at these plate tracks with enough correct decision-making. So it can be anyone's game here at Talladega. See Pressey getting closer and closer towards the wall, coming out of the corner. And now brings it down through the tribal. This is going to be his flying lap. He's going to try to get as close to that yellow line with turning the wheel as little as possible to limit any speed that's been scrubbed off through the process of turning. Exits a little bit higher than you would like, but that shouldn't affect his run down the backstretch too much. And getting down to that yellow line, it's tough to gauge how close those tires are to that painted yellow line. Coming through the trioval, let's see what time Nicholas Pressey sets down. And it's going to be 49.363 for Nicholas Pressey. Let's see if anyone else sets a closer lap time. Closest person to him right now is Robert Wiggins. Looking at Wiggins coming to finish up his flying lap with under a minute and a half left in qualifying. And across the stripe, 49.539 for Wiggins. Good enough for fourth for him. John Bittler with a surprisingly good qualifying run right now. He's on the outside pole. And a number change for Ray Partridge. We're used to seeing him as the 1 car, but he's driving the Good Wrench 29 for this season. Very nice looking paint scheme Mr. Partridge has as he completes his qualifying run with a 49.406 or 608. I apologize. Good enough for 7th place. So qualifying has completely wrapped up. And just waiting for the qualifying session to end before we can start warm-ups and drivers get their last little adjustments made to their cars. So up into warm-ups, currently looking at Dylan Lansdale as he exits pit road. But want to give a shout out to our sponsor, IRD Racing out of Florida. IRD Racing, industry leaders in fuel injection technology, especially in the field of carburetors. They do all sorts of racing part products to improve your real-world racing programs, from anything from drag racing to circle track racing to even road racing. IRD Racing has you covered. There's a reason people call them the king of carburetors. They're very happy to wear with their superior products and customer service. So if you're ever looking to elevate your real-world racing program to the next level, especially in the field of carburetors and fuel injection, check out IRD Racing, the king of carburetors. Very happy to have them on board to allow me to broadcast this series, because it has been a ton of fun to do. Just making some small adjustments to the ticker real quick. Ticker will be back in just 1 second. As is not aware that Ray Partridge changed his number, so I didn't want his number showing up as the 1 when it is very obviously the 29. So just under 2 minutes left in warm-ups here. Drivers trying to get a feel for what it's like in a drafting environment. It looks like we got, I believe, 17 cars here for tonight's event. So a nice field for, I think, 94 laps around Talladega. So we got a long race ahead of us. And people looking to capitalize on good momentum from prior seasons, like that 13 of Tony Kurgel, looking to carry on the good momentum that he had from winning the championship last season. And now he's looking to maybe try to go after a win in the first race of the next season directly after he wins the championship. That would be one heck of a way to kick off your return. Ray Partridge definitely looking for another strong season with a new number. Like I said earlier, he went from 1 to 29. And some new faces that I personally have not seen in this series before. The 02 of Jonathan Flournoy, and then the 18 of Andy Reeves. But nice looking scheme on that number 02. But warm-up has finally concluded, and we can go to your starting lineup in just one moment. So, yep, like I figured, it was a 94-lap race today at Talladega. And your starting lineup for the EA Sports 500, it is Nicholas Pressey starting off where he normally does, on pole in car number 94. On his outside, a great qualifying effort from number 88, series sponsor John Bittler. Going to start off on the outside row and try to lead his I believe his first laps in National Sim Racing if he can get ahead of Nicholas Pressey. In third, Mark Sikoshi came in third in standings last season, looking for redemption. He's going to be starting the race in third, and on his outside is going to be consistent contender Justin Cope in car 59. Inside of row number 3, rounding out your top 5, is going to be the 26 of Robert Wiggins, and on his outside it's going to be Dylan Lansdell in car 24. Looking for a better race to have Ray Partridge in car 29. Start inside of row number 4 with Brian Wiggins, looking to turn his fortunes around after a crash-filled season. Took him out of a lot of races, and most of the time it wasn't his fault, in car number 15. Inside of row number 5 is going to be car number 5. Adam DeFore stole a couple wins last season, and he's looking to ride that good momentum into the next one. He's going to be starting 9th, and on his outside is going to be a new face, Jonathan Flournoy, car number 02, that royal purple number 02, rounding out your top 10. First car outside of the top 10 is going to be reigning champion, car 13, Tony Kurgel. In 11th, on his outside, it's going to be the 56 of Chris Norris. Andy Reeves in car 18 going to be starting in the inside of row number 7 with Jason Crumley on his outside. Then it's going to be Colton English and Dawson Kent rounding out the field here. I don't think Lyle Mitchell is going to be doing this. Yeah. So I don't think Lyle Mitchell is going to be doing this. I think he's doing the role of race official. But cars rolling down the backstretch into turn 3, getting ready to kick off a new season of National Sim Racing here on Fireball Talks NASCAR. And it's going to be Nicholas Pressey once again leading them to the green flag. He's going to have help from behind in the form of Mark Sikoshi, and he's going to have John Bittler to fend off on the outside with Justin Cope, car 59, right behind him. So, pace car pulling in, waiting for Pressey to hit the loud pedal and send us to the green flag. Green flag is out for the first race of the second season of 2026 in National Sim Racing Gen 4 Cup Series. John Bittler with a good charge on the outside. Justin Cope's a lot closer to him, but he's not able to clear him entering 1. Pressey's gonna have the shorter way around, so he's gonna pull ahead through the corner as they're still getting up to speed here. That inside line is a lot more tightly packed than that outside line. It's just Bittler, Cope, and Flournoy. And Flournoy is pretty disconnected from Cope on that outside line. So it's really just 2 cars versus about 10 on the inside. And that's really going to show when Pressey and Sikoshi start to pull ahead of Bittler and car 88. Yeah, 3 cars clear on the inside. That's soon to be 4 as Bittler's sliding back. Dylan Lansdale trying to get clear of car 88. The question is, does anyone hop up from that low side to try and build up the high side's car count? Looks like no one's going for it just yet, as Bittler and Cope unable to get down to the bottom and gonna slide towards the back. And that's kind of what happens when no one works with you. This is a game of numbers here at Talladega, and that inside line just had a bigger number of cars to completely just blow past the outside line. Yeah, this outside line is going to really start fading back. You can see Flournoy in car 02 moving back up to the high side. But then Justin Cope dives in, and looks like he's going to ride around just a little bit. So John Bittler, he's going to try to get right down in front of Cope. Flournoy side by side with Colton English, but nothing able to be formed with that. Bittler going to try to go on the outside again, trying to bring someone with him, but no one's biting just yet. Side by side with Andy Reeves. Now Cope going to the outside as well. He thought about doing it, but I just don't think that he has the support on that outside necessary to maintain. As we already have a couple cars. We have a couple cars behind. Whoa! Something happened with Nicholas Pressey. We were busy focusing on. Bittler. So and I apologize for rewinding. Let me see the cause of this. There's a very real chance that this is a connection flag. Yes. So Nicholas Pressey got sent to pit lane from the lead due to connection issues. In iRacing, if it doesn't deem your connection as stable to be, safe on track, it will teleport your car into pit lane irrespective of what position you're in. And unfortunately, it looks like Nicholas Pressey's internet connection dropped below that threshold, and he just got teleported into pit lane. And the officials won't let him leave until that internet connection resumes. As we see Tony Kurgel taking a leap of faith, moving to the outside, and now he's going to be leading that outside charge with Bittler, Cope, and Flournoy. And now that outside line is starting to get some serious momentum going here. Yeah, sorry, I apologize. I need to get back into real time. But it looks like it's gonna go back to single file. Bittler and Kurgel leading the way here. Same with Justin Cope. It looks like Flournoy was not able to get in line and not able to follow them to the inside, is what I'm trying to say. And he had to drop to the back, so he's currently in 10th behind Adam DeFleur. But we have 2 cars that did get separated from the lead pack, and they're going to need a caution to get back into this. This is Chris Norris and Dawson Kent, 13th and 14th. And they're definitely going to need a caution because they're about 2-3 tenths slower per lap than these guys in the front. Justin Cope pulls out of line and drops to the back. I think he tried to go to the outside to try and make a move happen, but it just did not pan out. Looks like John Bittler's gonna try the same. And does anyone go with him? Here comes Sakoshi in car 8, cars 8 and 88. trying to make that outside lane work. Wiggins goes up there as well. Lansdale kind of unsure on what move to make. Bittler drops back to the bottom. Sakoshi's well clear to do so. And Wiggins is going to do it, and Sakoshi does it as well. So John Bittler leads the lap here in National Sim Racing Gen 4 Cup Series. Very happy to see him do that. I think he gets a point for leading that. I see Flournoy. That is Andy Reeves, and I thought for a second, yeah, Justin Cope trying to form an outside line. Justin Cope sliding back a little bit, very disconnected from those two cars in front. So John Bittler leading the way. That outside line with Flournoy and Reeves definitely going to need a little bit more cars up there to get something going, as they're kind of just locked back here in 7th and 8th. But John Bittler doing everything you want to see from a line leader, keeping it nice and low, not really moving around too much. And when you're the leader, you definitely want to make the cars behind you confident that they can push you. And if you're moving around a lot, that can kill the momentum of a line, because the car right behind you is not sure if he touches you, if you'll come across their nose. So Bittler still leading the way as we go on to lap number 10. Flournoy very slowly working his way up the field as Justin Cope starting to get closer and closer to the guys in front. But he's locked dead even with Ray Partridge in car 29. And really the only benefit that the outside line has is that they're not checking up as much as the inside line is, because they have less cars, but they also have less drafting power. And I think that outside line just completely fell apart. Nicholas Pressey is back on track after his connection flag. He's 4 laps down. He's gonna need a gift to get back into the lead. Not saying that it's not possible, but it's not plausible is what I should say. Single file racing all the way through this field so far. Nobody trying a second line. And this field of 12 cars about 12 seconds removed from the group of 3 behind. Colton English, Chris Norris, and Dawson Kent. I don't know how Colton English dropped back here, but they're running, let's see their last lap times. Oh yeah, they're running about a second slower than, running almost a second slower than that group of 3 back there. But they are running about 2 seconds faster than Nicholas Pressey, who is all by himself. Sakoshi looking to make a move on Bittler, but doesn't have any support if he tries to make it. Lap 13 out of 94 starting right now. You can see Flournoy trying the outside once again. He needs more than just one other car to work with him. And really the person in the best position right now is John Bittler. Since no one's trying an outside charge, I think we saw Justin Cope try it for a second. But yep, everyone in one tight line down here. No one except for Flournoy really trying to make a charge on the outside. I think you're going to wait for later in the race to do so. And if this holds up, we might see John Bittler taking home the award for most laps led. But like I said earlier, Bittler's doing a great job of leading this line. He's got a fast car and clean air. He's got a very fast pusher right behind him as well in the 8 of Mark Sakoshi. But you rarely see that 88 make a bobble like some of these other cars are. He's very committed to running about half a car length, or half a car width, I should say, off of that yellow line. All right, not really even half a car width. I'd say like a tire width off of that yellow line and just sticking to it, not trying to go near the wall on exit, just trying to paint that yellow line. That's what you want to do as we start seeing an outside line form. Big charge from Justin Cope, Andy Reeves, and Jonathan Flournoy forming here on the outside. They're going to try to get around that 3 of Lucas Crump. Or sorry, not the 3 of Lucas Crump. For some reason, that is actually Brian Wiggins. I didn't notice that he was driving the 3. I was wondering where the 15 was, but I didn't pay it much mind. So that's something that I need to fix as well, is Brian Wiggins. He's registered as car 15 in the session, but his paint scheme says number 3. So definitely a little bit confusing. But that outside line kind of died out right alongside Dylan Lansdell. I think if they get one more car up there, that can definitely help them out. As they're going to catch Nicholas Pressey, and if Nicholas Pressey can stay in the draft of this main pack, he can be a very useful asset to that outside line because he's a lap car. He doesn't really have a lot to lose. He's multiple laps down. So if he can be that difference maker and work with cars on the outside line, we might see a big breakup in this single file racing for the first time since Sakoshi, Bittler, and Wiggins and Kurgel pulled out of line to make a move. As they're approaching the 94 right now, I see him in the corner of your screen, just exiting the shot. That blue, white, and orange car. Looks like Pressey's gonna be staying really low, so the inside line is going to have to go around that 94 car. And that's kind of expected of a lap car. You kind of want everyone to move around you so you can integrate yourself into the draft. As looks like Justin Cope was stuck on the outside trying to get back down, but Pressey took up that space, and now Nicholas Pressey 5 laps down, and he's going to be leading that outside line. And since he is the pole sitter, he should have a very good car in clean air. So he's going to be leading a charge of about 5 cars on the outside here. You see Lansdell, Cope, Reeves, and Flournoy all on the outside. I'd say that they need to get a little bit more tightly compacted to really make a charge and be a threat for the lead here. As Wiggins debating whether to go up If I was Wiggins, I would go up right in front of Presti, but it looks like he's not going to jump on the chance to be taken to the front. So Presti leading the outside line. It's going to be Lansdell, Cope, Reeves, and Flournoy looking to rip away the lead that Jonathan Bittler has on this field. No side drafting going on, interestingly enough. Now Bittler looks to go high. He's going to block that outside line. So now it's going to be Sikochi leading the inside. Presti going to go and leave Bittler out to dry. And he's actually just going to pass him straight up. So now Presti leading the outside line. Bittler is going to be the first car on the lead lap on that outside line. And man, Presti's got a car very good on its own. But Bittler needs to stay in line with Presti and if they want to keep that momentum on the outside line going, as we are double file here at Talladega. All the way through this main pack, Presti with a big momentum charge going to lead the field, although he is 4 laps down. And you can see Lansdell up into third. He's going to slide down in front of Sikochi. That outside line now starting to disband now that Lansdell moved down to the bottom. The 3 cars you normally see on the outside, Cope, Reeves, and Flournoy, need to be more tightly compacted together if they want to go anywhere with this. But with how fast that 94 car is, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if that inside line stays dominant as long as he's leading it. John Bittler going to the outside to try and get around that 94 car. Lansdell all over the back end of Presti. Lansdell might have the better run down the back straightaway into turn 3 here. Gonna have a nose ahead of Bittler using that inside line. Interesting move by Bittler to go high when he could have chilled out behind Presti. But it makes you wonder, definitely makes you wonder how these guys are on fuel, if they're doing any fuel saving or trying to just go all out, as now Bittler being left to dry. He's in the sucker hole as Cope went to the outside. Bittler going to try to get down. Oh, Wiggins did not let him in between him and Kurgel. So Bittler going from the front to the back after being hung out to dry. He's going to try to rejoin that outside line, or I thought he was, behind Flournoy, but did not follow through with it. So he's going to be running the bottom, and it's going to be Dylan Lansdell leading the first laps that I've seen him lead in National Sim Racing. So he's worked his way to the front, and it played out exactly like I said, with Nicholas Presti playing a big role in this front pack. So Presti would love to see a string of cautions to get him back on the lead lap, but with this single file racing, it's not very conducive to Rex, as we see Andy Reeves going way towards the wall. Great save by that 8 car, and he's going to be able to slow it down enough to get back on track to and not hit anything. But he is going to lose the draft, and it is a long, long way back till Dawson Kent and Chris Norris. Oh my gosh, I just realized I was on standby the entire time. Oh, goodness. I apologize. Oh, wow. I did not realize I was on standby for that long. My apologies, everyone. But, that was an unintentional slip up. I haven't done that in a very long time. I do apologize about that. I did not check the stream to see if it was off to see if the graphic was off. So I do apologize for that. But we do have Dylan Lansdell leading. I'll go back on as we see Justin Cope. That's not Justin Cope. That's Jason Crumley. I apologize. Black car with red numbers kind of threw me off. But we'll go back on standby for just 1 second to see what happened to the 8 of Andy Reeves. So with not much happening up front, let's see what happened to Andy Reeves to send him around. So he's getting pushed by Bittler, and it looks like, yeah, those noses just did not align. Great save by Reeves to not hit anything, but he's well lost the draft. As, Jonathan Flournoy has lost the draft as well. So this lead pack crumbling just a little bit as pit stops starting to begin. Mark Sikoshi diving into pit lane. He's going to bring Justin Cope and Bittler with him in as well. Wow, that's a terrible camera angle for looking at pit road people. So it's going to be Sikoshi, Cope, and Bittler going in. And you want to be entering pit lane with friends. The last thing you want to do is be entering pit lane by yourself and not have any drafting help around the track. But Lansdell still leading the race. Not much else happening at the moment as Cope, Sikoshi, and Bittler a little bit separated from each other. None of them got black flags, thankfully. And if I was John Bittler and Mark Sikoshi, I'd be letting up just a little bit to make sure. Justin Cope now in their group. Definitely going to be slower than the lead pack as Andy Reeves gets a black flag, I believe, for speeding. But Chris Norris, Dawson Kent, and Colton English all in pit lane as well. So, tough break turned even worse for car 18 as he's going to have to stay in there for quite a little bit to get that black flag cleared. You can see the cars up front might have saved a little bit more fuel. And this, if this goes green to the end, this will definitely have an advantage for them. For that they can that they might be that they can take less fuel in their final pit stop is what I'm trying to say. But Andy Reeves has cleared his black flag and is able to resume racing. He's 1 lap down, about to go 2 laps down. As the field's gonna pass him by here. But that's not good news for Nicholas Pressey, because that's a car in front of him that is going to take away his lucky dog if he gets it, or if a caution comes out is what I should say, as Dawson Kent has put out to a pretty big lead over Chris Norris and Colton English further in the back. But now everyone diving into pit lane. Pressy's the only one who didn't come in. You can see Wiggins, Kershaw. Oh, Wiggins way off doing some landscaping. Lansdell off doing some landscaping. Black flags for both of them for unsafe pit entry, it looks like. So that is not good for either of them. Have to see if those penalties get cleared or not. I doubt that they do. As you see Kent, Norris, and English flying by. Ray Partridge, first car out of pit lane. Or actually, sorry, I apologize. Tony Kurgel wins the race off of pit road. And he has about a 1.3 second gap over Partridge and company. But he might be too far ahead if he wants to retain this lead. As Sakoshi, Bittler, and Cope are working their way, and they're at full song as they're quickly approaching Partridge and Kurgel. They're about 20 miles per hour faster in this group of 3 cars, and they are catching up very quick. So yeah, here comes Sakoshi, Bittler, and Cope. And now Tony Kurgel gonna be the one swallowed up by this group of cars. Partridge gonna try to hang on to their draft a little bit. Needs to stay within about 6/10, but he's quickly dropping out of that draft range. And now Sakoshi looking to make a move on Kurgel with help from Bittler. Bittler's gonna get clear of Kurgel. Kurgel's gonna slot himself in between Bittler and Cope, and Cope's gonna do one over on Kurgel to get that 3rd spot. As they come around Nicholas Pressey once again, who came into pit lane. So Pressey reintegrating himself with the leaders here, but definitely a much more spread out field. As we have a lead pack of five cars, and 2 of them are trying their best to pull away from the cars behind. Sakoshi and Bittler trying to form a breakaway from the rest of these guys, but with Pressey in the mix, he's gonna be able to bring them back up to these top 2 cars. As I think Pressey's gonna try and form an outside line. If I was Kurgel, I'd try to follow him. You can't really lose too much, but Pressey did not get the run that he needed to make something like that work. He's gonna try again. Kurgel's still not going with him. And now he finally does. So, trying to have 2 lines working out here for the lead. Nothing really coming of it, as the guys in 5th, 6th, and 7th, Partridge, Wiggins, and DeFore, need a caution pretty much, because they're going to be pretty far behind the rest of the field here. But Sakoshi leading on lap 36 out of 94. As now Bittler jumps to the high side to try to block off Pressey. Pressey's going to jump back down to the bottom. Pressey not interested in working with John Bittler. And now Bittler's going to be stuck on the outside, but Sakoshi's going to try to give him a little bit of a life raft here. And that's going to get Bittler around Pressey. Cope's going to get around Pressey as well. Kurgel firmly glued to the back end of that 94 car. So a 5-car group making the lead pack here with a 3-second gap to the cars behind. And if I'm Ray Partridge and the rest of them, I need to see them battling as much as possible to catch back up. Because they're hovering right around the 3-second range, and the last thing that they need is these cars working together in a straight line. But now they've migrated to the high side. And if they stay up there, they're definitely going to have the rest of the field, or not the rest of the field, the 3 cars behind them catch up in the corners incrementally. Because these guys are running all the way near the bottom and making up about a tenth or so every corner. As Pressey now losing the lead group of cars here. About 5 car lengths behind Kurgel. As the one person who would benefit greatly from a caution right about now is Andy Reeves all by himself. He's the only car 1 lap down, but he might not be the only one, as Lansdale and Wiggins, who got pit road penalties for unsafe entry, are soon to be eaten up by the lead pack here, who have now migrated back down to the bottom. And it's still Sakoshi leading. Kurgel looks to the outside. Cope wiggling around a little bit. Kurgel unsure where to go, as Pressey just hit the fastest lap of the race, despite being 5 laps down. 48.857 for car 94. And he's going to try his hand at pushing the defending champion of Tony Kurgel around the leaders on the inside. They're going to be trying to take up as much space here as possible. And like I said, this is exactly what they want. This is exactly what the cars from 5th to 7th want. They want to see a lot of battling going on and slowing each other down. But I think they should be able to absorb Dylan Lansdale and Robert Wiggins when the front pack passes them. But they have lost a little bit of time in the past couple laps, from about 2.7 seconds down to 3.1. And just not very well connected, as Sakoshi still leading this group of 4 lead lap cars and 1 lapped car, coming to lap number 42 here at Talladega. Kurgel going to try to get the big pushes from Pressey. That inside line became a lot more disconnected here. And they're approaching lapped traffic with Lansdale and Wiggins in front, and then a gaggle of 4 cars in front of them as well. So Kurgel peeking to the outside of Bittler and Sakoshi. He's getting a lot of help from Pressey. Kurgel noses ahead entering the tri-oval, but Sakoshi's going to have the shorter way around the track. They're side by side coming across the stripe. Give that lap to Tony Kurgel. So he's going to get a point for leading a lap, but Sakoshi's going to nose ahead in the corners here. Justin Cope not really connected to that inside line very well, so not able to keep that inside line ahead of Pressey's pushes. And Kurgel going to try to get clear of Sakoshi down the backstretch, but I don't think that it's possible just yet, as now Justin Cope teased the idea of going high and helping that outside line, but that doesn't go anywhere. He's a lot closer to John Bittler now to help that inside line out, as Kurgel and Sakoshi about dead even through the tri-oval. Still pretty even into turn one as they're approaching lapped traffic. Where does the lap traffic go when they catch them? And they have a lot of lap traffic that they're catching up to. Kurgel losing a little bit of time, doesn't really have the support from Pressey that he needs. Side by side with John Bittler, but they have a mess of cars in front of them to navigate as we're quickly approaching halfway here at Talladega. And yeah, that's a big group of about 5 to 6 cars, all at a lower speed or equal speed, and not all of them too sure on what they want to do in terms of letting people by. You can see Jason Crumley running high. These lead group of cars are going to try to split the middle as they get around Lansdell. So Crumley near the wall, no one hits him, thankfully. And now a big clump of cars making up this lead group of leaders and lappers, pretty much. But this is what the cars behind want to see, as they're going to have to deal with Andy Reeves in car 18 on the high side. Sakoshi jumps to the middle. Bittler jumps low too. Kurgel going to try to sneak in as well. Cope not able to get down there because Dawson Kent is there. So they get around Reeves without too much of a fuss. And it's just Cope and Pressey up on the outside line, with Crumley detached from that outside grouping. Sakoshi remains the leader, but Bittler is looking to get back into the lead as Pressey jumps to the inside. Sakoshi running the high side, going to try to get Kurgel around that 27 of Dawson Kent. But now that group of 3 cars, soon to be 4 cars, with Andy Reeves catching on to their draft, is definitely gonna be smiling. As we have a caution out. Oh, that's Nicholas Pressey around. I was looking at the second group of cars, and then I heard the caution come out, and Nicholas Pressey was the one sent around here. Let's see what happened to car 94. As it looks like he's behind Colton English, and it looks like Colton English just checks up, and Pressey reacts to it. I don't think Chris Norris expected the checkup to happen, and kind of just went right into the back of Pressey. And then that car gets turned around. Pressey's trying to get it straight, and he noses it into the outside wall, and that front clip comes off. So a bad day made worse for Nicholas Pressey as he tows that car to pit road, and I doubt we'll see that 94 car back out on track until that car is completely fixed. But right at the halfway mark, we have the caution coming out, and only 7 cars on the lead lap. The car that's going to get the lucky dog is car 27, Dawson Kent. But everyone else who is a lap down is gonna try to get a wave around and hope for a quick caution so that they can get fuel in that car. Yeah, all of them jumping into pit lane. So Mark Sikoshi leading Bittler, Kurgel, Cope, and Partridge into pit lane. Everyone on the lead lap coming in. Looks like 4 tires and fuel for everyone. Definitely an interesting strategy to take tires as well because, theoretically speaking, you're not worried about the speed getting back up to speed as you would in a green flag race. But a full tank of fuel normally takes less than 4 tires, so interesting strategies being played out as Wiggins gets the jump on Kurgel and Justin Cope. So your top 5 now is Sikoshi, Bittler, Wiggins, DeFore, and Kurgel. So waiting for Dawson Kent to get the wave around. Or actually, it looks like he, Colton English, and Chris Norris already got the wave around. Surprisingly enough, Dylan Lansdell did not opt to try and get a wave around. Maybe trying to play the long game, thinking that he can have another caution come out as people get more desperate later on in the race. But approaching lap number 50 here, as you see Dawson Kent and Colton English jumping into pit lane. So they go back a lap down. I guess they couldn't make it on fuel regardless. But either way, pace car lights are off. So it's going to be Mark Sikoshi leading the field to the green flag. He's going to have Dylan Lansdell right by him, and Lansdell's going to be pretty hungry to get himself unlapped. Because I'm sure that he doesn't want to deal with the other lapped cars and battle for the lucky dog spot. So the ideal situation for Lansdell to get back on the lead lap would be for him to get ahead of Sikoshi, and then the caution comes out while he's ahead. So he can get around everyone. But it looks like Dylan Lansdell was just given an EOL since he is a lap down. So he's going to have to drop to the back of the line. So now that goal made a lot harder as he has about 10 cars ahead of him if he wants to get back ahead of Sikoshi. But pace car about to make the hard left turn into pit lane. And it's going to be Mark Sikoshi and John Bittler leading the way to the first restart of the EA Sports 500 on lap 50, coming to 51, waiting for the green flag to come out.
Green, green, green.
And green flag is out here at Talladega. Sikoshi with a big jump over Bittler and the rest of the field. And it looks like no one really opting to try and make a move just yet. As yeah, no one's... I was just about to say, no one's trying to go to the bottom. We're seeing Brian Wiggins in the 15 and DeFore going down there as well. Partridge looking to join the party. Does Sikochi come down to block it? No, he doesn't. So he's going to allow Wiggins to get to the lead here. And DeFore is going to follow him through. Same with Partridge. You can see Cope running the inside line as well. Bittler slides in. That outside line is quickly losing momentum as Sikoshi dives in as well. So it's just going to be Kurgel and Crumley running that outside line, and they don't have the safety net of Nicholas Presley to help him out either. Now that Presley has retired from the race, so it's going to be Brian Wiggins leading the way on lap 52. No one really interested in trying to get that outside line to work here. Bittler and Sikoshi looking to make something happen, but I think they're doing it a little bit late because there's no one to help him out on the outside. Bittler has to come down to block Cope from getting to his inside. And we're back to single file racing here at Talladega. And outside line trying to get formed up once again. Sikochi went up there to make it look like he was interested in making a charge, but not able to get the momentum required. Bittler and Cope went with them, but they both ducked back down to the inside. You can see Kurgel down the back straight looking to make a move on Colin English, but not able to make it happen. He's able to slot in right ahead of Dawson Kent. Sikoshi looking to the outside of Partridge. Bittler gonna follow him through. Cope gonna try to Cope's gonna try to get on that outside line as well. And Sikoshi's gonna retake the lead from Brian Wiggins. And Bittler's going to be pushing Sikoshi all the way. But they don't have they're not as tight together as the inside line is. Cope and Kurgel really need to get really close to each other and to Bittler if that outside line wants to overtake the inside line. But Sikoshi has a nose over Brian Wiggins, and DeFore is moving around quite a lot on that bottom lane. That car is not very stable down there, and that's one thing that will definitely hamper the progress of the line is if one car is not stable. And we can see that Sikoshi and Bittler are pretty stable. But the people trying to support Brian Wiggins, not so. But Wiggins with a huge head of steam down the inside. He's going to get clear of that outside line. And DeFore's gonna get clear of the 8 car as well, coming across the stripe. So the momentum definitely shifted back down to the inside. Partridge might get clear and try to help his boss out on that high side if he's clear. But it looks like he's not clear just yet, as Scope has to poke his nose out to cool his car a little bit. Now, Sakoshi dives back in, kind of leaves the, I was about to say, if he stayed there, he would leave that outside line to rot. And now it's a 3-car breakaway with Colton English, who is a lap down. The 4th car in line on that inside line. The outside line just kind of lost all the momentum that it had. And it seems like with these cars, you gotta just take any opportunity you get, because they just might not seem to be the best at plate tracks. They're very good at pretty much everywhere else, but it seems like the plate tracks, the arrow is a little bit funky. As new fastest lap of the race was not set by Nicholas Pressey. It was set by Dawson Kent, who is a lap down behind Colton English. A 48.704 for car 27. And if I'm Dawson Kent, I am going to try to get to that high side to get around Colton English for the lucky dog spot in the event of a caution. But yeah, that outside line really is dying. Sakoshi and Bittler not really going anywhere. And once again, back to single file racing here at Talladega. I feel like I've said that about 5 times in this race. Coming to lap 60. Hopefully we'll see a lot more desperation and willing to move out of line once the final pit stops are underway. Because I do love plate racing when they are more than just single file. But it seems like it's really hard to get an outside line going here. But Brian Wiggins is definitely the main beneficiary from all of this, able to lead that inside line, and no one really able to make a move on him just yet. It's definitely better than the product that we have in real life, but I think there is definitely room for improvement here on iRacing's part in terms of the draft modeling, because it doesn't seem quite accurate to the real life Gen 4 plate races, which we're trying to replicate. But maybe I might be wrong. After all, I was only born in 2003, so I'd be watching those races in retrospect. See outside line with Crumley and Bittler trying to get form. Sakoshi went way towards the wall. I think maybe they're going to try a little bit of fuel saving to take less fuel when they come into pit lane and try to jump these guys ahead. Because the thinking is that if you're able to take less fuel, you'll have a shorter pit stop time. But they also need to make sure to not take tires. Because taking tires will pretty much negate any time that you gain by doing that. But another issue with not taking a full tank is that if we do get green-white checkered, if we are in the situation where green-white checkered is necessary, those extra laps suddenly become the biggest pain in your backside, because you might not make it all the way to the checkered flag with an extended period of laps. But everyone kind of settling in right now. It's the top 7 and some lap cars all in this lead grouping of cars. Colton English still in the lucky dog position. If a caution comes out, he will get his lap back. But with how passive these guys are being by running single file, a caution is pretty unlikely unless we have some sort of major checkup that causes another caution similar to the one that Pressey got involved in. Trying to make an outside line work with Cope, Bittler, and Sikoshi, but not really able to get anywhere. They're side by side with Dawson Kent. Gonna try to get alongside Kurgel. I think if Kurgel goes up there, they might have a fighting chance to make that line work. But tandem drafting, unfortunately, not a thing in these cars. Would definitely love to see it. As Dawson Kent jumps to the high side, and then Sikochi and everyone jumps back to the bottom. You see just at the edge of the shot, that is Chris Norris in car 56. Said Chris Norris in car 56. He's going to go a lap down at this rate. Without any help, he's running about 4 seconds slower than the leaders here. So he's probably going to get lapped within about 2 laps. So the outside line trying to get formed up once again. It's just those 3 that we normally see trying that outside line. But they're definitely going to make things interesting once they catch the 56 of Norris. They're trying to get around Colton English right now. Entering turn 3, and this is the bottleneck here. But Norris lets everyone by. Maybe a little bit too courteous as he scraped the wall a little bit trying to do so. But he's going to let everyone by. And it's still going to be Brian Wiggins leading the way here. That outside line very steadily working its way up through the more disconnected parts of the inside line. You can see Cope nosing ahead of English, and Kurgel is kind of trapped behind that 45 car. I think Kurgel would like to get around Colton English ASAP. Or maybe Kurgel is trying to conserve fuel a little bit. But now a little bit of separation between Partridge in third and Colton English, the first car 1 lap down. As you can see, yeah, Kurgel now moving to that high side. So that's going to shuffle, that's most likely going to shuffle Colton English all the way to the back. They just got to wait for Kurgel to get connected. $28 laps to go, coming to 27 laps to go here at Talladega. The question is, do they have to pit one more time, and when will that time be? You can see Cope starting to get around Partridge. Bittler's around Partridge as well. Now they're working on Adam DeFore. That inside line, very fragmented, with about a car length between DeFore and Partridge. Now Cope moving to the outside. He's pulling ahead of Brian Wiggins, and Bittler's going to be ahead of Wiggins as well. Can Bittler get down? That's the That's the $1 million question. Looks like Bittler can't get down just yet. So, Bittler really hoping that Cope doesn't drop down to the bottom. But if Cope's acting in his own interest, then he would definitely drop down to get the lead and control that inside line. But he's looking like he's gonna try to help Bittler out. Now there's more cars on the outside than there are on the inside, but they're not that well connected. Ooh, Kurgel really trying to side draft with Partridge to bring that 29 car back just a smidge, as they are locked even through the corner. Cope and Brian Wiggins battling for the lead. Cope's going to have the more momentum on the outside, but Sakoshi's still not able to get Bittler around Wiggins just yet. I think Bittler is clear, and Sakoshi might be clear of Wiggins too coming into turn one. All three cars gonna try to make the move to the inside. They're gonna get it to work. Kurgel is the odd man out here, and he's gonna drop to the back now that there's nobody to help him on the outside line. But he might be able to slot in right behind DeFore here, and he will. So, new leader Justin Cope on lap number 70. Partridge looking to the outside. Not going to be able to not going to be able to get anything from it, as Bittler back in second place. I saw him lead a lot of laps earlier. You probably heard me talk about him leading a bunch of laps earlier while I accidentally had the standby graphic on, and I do apologize for that. That is quite embarrassing of me to do. But everyone running the inside line here. Question is, when does Bittler make a move? Trying to get some fresh air on the nose of the 88 to cool it down. I guess the real question is, what is Sakoshi going to do? Because it looks like Sakoshi's very happy with pushing Bittler. But it's going to be the question of when do they opt to jump out. Because, I mean, they pit around lap 30. The caution came out around lap 47. So that would be about lap 77 when they have to pit. Lap 77 to 80 when they have to pit in a 94 lap race. So that's about 5 to 8 laps from now, when they gotta come in for the most pivotal pit stops of the race. I think once they get those done, that will be the moment where all the gloves are off and you are fighting for yourself. But Cope leading the way here. Everyone's got about a 22-second gap to the cars behind them. Or, sorry, this group of cars has about a 22-second gap to the cars behind. And no one looking to make a move just yet. It'd be very interesting when they decide to jump into pit lane here, and what the strategy is. Because if you take tires, you're definitely taking a lot longer pit stop, but you're going to have a lot more grip getting back up to speed than you would on your heated up tires. And that momentum can mean everything. But if I was, let's say Ray Partridge, I'm taking the minimum amount of fuel that I can to get home and no tires to try and jump up a couple of positions. Inside line becoming gradually more fragmented as Brian Wiggins moved up a little bit, and DeFore wasn't sure whether he wanted to jump to the inside or not. Still hugging that yellow line with 20 laps to go. Everyone waiting for the first group of cars to try and make a charge on the outside, but it looks like that's gonna only happen until the last cycle of pit stops kick off, which is happening right now. Contact between Sakoshi and Cope. Whoa! Oh, Cope really got the raw end of the deal on that one. He got bumped by, I believe that was Sakoshi or Wiggins. But that really pushed him sideways and messed up his ability to slow down. So Bittler is going to be leading everyone into pit lane. A little bit of a slow entry, and Sakoshi overshoots his pit stop, and they're taking tires here, folks. As you see, Kurgel and Wiggins are out. They decided to not take tires. They only took fuel. That's the correct strategy, I would wager, is to not take tires, because the people who did are losing a lot of time. Now Bittler might be able to stay within these guys, but oh, that's a tough break for Justin Cope, who went into pit with everyone else and just essentially accidentally got punted. But now Tony Kurgel with a huge lead over Brian Wiggins, but he is pretty much alone here. While Wiggins and Partridge are grouped together, they're going to be running a lot faster than Kurgel. As Cope getting out of pit lane, that's just so unfortunate for him. But Tony Kurgel by himself, and now these two are starting to go faster than Kurgel. Adam DeFore trying to cling on to the edge of this pack. Same with Bittler, and Bittler's got help from Sakoshi. So 18 laps to go, and Wiggins and Partridge have about 4.5 seconds to make up on Tony Kurgel, which should be more than possible with 3 cars working with him. I think they slowed up a little bit to get Adam DeFore with them, and that's going to really help out their case in catching up to the back end of that 13 car. And you see Bittler just poking in at the edge of the screen here. He really needs to get around Colin English with help from Sakoshi as quickly as possible if he wants to stay in the hunt for this lead pack. And now these three are really flying in comparison to Tony Kurgel, running about 10 miles per hour faster and really starting to eat into the gap that Tony Kurgel has on them. Yeah, last time by 2 seconds faster with how close they are. And Colton English, John Bittler, and Mark Sikoshi all together as well. And they're really approaching Tony Kurgel with a huge head of steam, about 12 miles per hour of difference between these two people, between these two drivers, as they're going to jump to the high side. Kurgel going to be on the bottom. Colton English stuck down there, so English doesn't really have a choice but to help Kurgel out a little bit. And now they move down to the bottom. Bittler left with only Mark Sikoshi to help him out. Partridge really pushing Wiggins as hard as he can. But now Partridge backing off just a little bit. Does he go high here? Nope, not yet. He's going to stay committed to the back end of that 15 car. And now Partridge to the high side right in front of Bittler. So Partridge are going to try to make a move for the lead. He's clear of the three. If he wants to drop back down, he's going to bring Bittler, Sikoshi, and English with him. Bittler's clear. Now Bittler leaves Partridge out to dry. He's going to bring Mark Sikoshi with him, and that's going to move John Bittler to the lead of this race with 14 laps to go. Colton English really hoping for a late caution so he can get back on the lead lap. The back of this field really just splintered trying to get around Partridge. And they need to sort this out if they want to stay in the draft here, as Kurgel, Wiggins, and DeFore all fighting for the same spot. And now they need to spend a lap or two to get things going back up again here. But the top two is Bittler and Sikoshi, with the lap car of Colton English in third. Then it's Partridge, Wiggins, Partridge, Wiggins, Kurgel, and DeFore rounding out this lead group of cars here, as they're going to get around Robert Wiggins, who is 6 laps down. But now Partridge jumping to the high side, to the outside of English. They're a lot closer together on the outside than on the inside here. They're really fragmented on the inside, but now they're starting to get packed up together on the inside. 3 cars up top, 4 cars on the bottom. The bottom lane's gonna have the momentum here. And they're approaching another lap car ahead. Not exactly sure who that is. I think that's Jason Crumley ahead of him. But John Bittler only has 12 laps to go, and he has to fend off a very hungry 6 cars behind him, I should say, if he wants to take home his first National Sim Racing Gen 4 Cup Series win. That's a lot of time here at Talladega. 12 laps, just over 10 minutes of mirror driving that 88 car has to do. That outside line has 4 people formed now, and they just need to get all together. And I think that they'll be able to really blow by this inside line if Sikoshi and Bittler don't do any preventative measures to it. Partridge leading the charge. Partridge going to drop back down to the bottom and then go back to the top. I lost a lot of momentum for him. And Tony Kurgel once again left out to dry here as they're approaching the lap car of Jason Crumley. So Bittler and the lead pack got to navigate around Crumley. Crumley's going to go high. And it looks like this group of cars is just going to get past him on the bottom here. And 10 laps to go here at Talladega. to finish off the opening race of the second season of 2026 here in the National Sim Racing Gen 4 Cup Series. I think we still have a little bit of lap traffic to get through up ahead in the closing laps of this, but they really need to make a charge on the outside line sometime, because that takes a lap or two to build up. And if you wait till it's too late, and that dominant line, which is the bottom right now, led by John Bittler, is going to be the one reaping the rewards of it. 9 laps to go here in the EA Sports 500 at Talladega. Nobody looking to make a move just yet. I mean, if I was Tony Kurgel, I'd be trying every lap to get an outside line going. But no one's trying anything just yet as we reach 8 to go here. Something's got to give. I don't think that we're going to be ending this way single file as Kurgel forces Colin English to the outside. Now Sikochi looking to make a move on Bittler. And now the entire lead group leaving Sikochi out to dry here. And the only person that's going to help him is now Ray Partridge and Colton English. And now they're going to try to leave John Bittler in the dust. They got tired of him leading everyone up to the high side, it seems. Sikochi back down to the bottom to help out the 88. It is Randy, or I keep saying Randy, Ray Partridge leading. They're getting around the 56 of Chris Norris. So Bittler relegated from first to third here. And now he's going to try with a huge head of steam to get around Wiggins. He's going to get to the inside of that 15 car. And now he's going to fight for the lead once again as Partridge went high to try to work with Wiggins and lost a lot of momentum doing that. And now it is Bittler back in command of this race with Sikochi right behind him. Bittler moving to the high side. You can see Kurgel trying to side draft these guys to try to slow them down to keep the lines even. But Partridge to the inside of Sikochi. Bittler is going to have to defend that inside line if he wants to keep the lead. Coming to 6 laps to go. Partridge to the inside of car 88. But Bittler with a huge head of steam out of the corner. Now it's Kurgel looking to the outside to get to the back end of Sikochi. Bittler's got to be driving out of his mirrors real quick soon, as he's going to get a big help from Sikochi and Kurgel. 3 cars on the outside, 4 cars on the inside, the outside line with a lot of momentum. Bittler thought about moving down to the bottom, but didn't want to hang Sikochi out to dry. And now Partridge going to nose ahead in the corners here. Coming to 5 laps to go. They got to get around the lap car of Dawson Kent, who lost the draft. And then I think they should be good in terms of lapped cars from here on out. Now Partridge going to go to the high side to block Bittler. Bittler going to get to the outside of Partridge. And Kent going all the way to the high side here. Getting out of everyone's way. Very courteous move as, whoa, Wiggins and Partridge get really sideways. And that kills the inside line's momentum, but still not enough to get Tony Kurgel around that last car. Might be able to do it on corner exit here, but doesn't look like it. That inside line got formed together again really quickly. So coming to 4 laps to go here at Talladega. And it is all John Bittler and Mark Sikochi on that outside line with Tony Kurchel trying to suck up to the back end of Sakoshi, but to no avail. Now that inside line starting to get momentum here as they're coming up on Dylan Lansdale, so they're not out of the weeds just yet. Dawson Ken has joined the fray as a lap car to help out one of the lines here in the closing stages of this race. That inside line desperately trying to get some momentum going, but that's not going to help when DeFore is going to the outside as well. Coming to 3 laps to go. Can anyone get around John Bittler for the lead? And what is definitely going to be for the win here. Bittler not in an enviable position being the leader. The person who has the most power in this is most likely Mark Sakoshi, who's been helping John Bittler out this entire time. As they're going to get around Dylan Lansdale with 3 laps to go. Everyone's single file. No one trying to make a move to the outside just yet. I think they're going to wait until they get around this 24 car before making any crazy moves. Kurgel's hungry for a win. I think he's going to be the first car to make a move here. It's either going to be Kurgel or Partridge making a move to the outside line, because that momentum takes a little bit to gather up. And let's see, coming across the stripe, Kurgel's got the momentum. Does he try to go to the outside here? Partridge elects to make the move stick. Kurgel wishing that he took the opportunity to go to the outside. Now Partridge to the outside of Kurgel with 2 laps to go. John Bittler looking to get his first National Sim Racing Gen 4 Cup Series win with 2 laps to go here at Talladega in the EA Sports 500. He's getting a heck of a job from Sakoshi. A little bit of a wall tap from, I believe that was Wiggins. Now Sakoshi pushed to the outside. That's not good for Bittler. His main pusher has been ejected from that line. Now he has to deal with Ray Partridge all over his back bumper. Coming to the white flag here at Talladega. When does Ray Partridge make the move on John Bittler? Looks like he's going to be right coming across the start-finish line. Bittler going to try and move Partridge as far up the track as he can as they approach Cope. But Bittler really got hung out to dry there, and he's going to need something huge to happen if he wants to get back in the top 3. He falls back to 4th behind the lap car, or behind Tony Kurgel. Colton English in the mix. And it's going to be Ray Partridge through turns 3 and 4. When does Wiggins make the move to get past Partridge? Or can he do it? I don't think he's running out of time here. It's going to be Ray Partridge winning the race here at Talladega over Brian Wiggins, and Tony Kurgel coming home 3rd. John Bittler leading so much of this race just to come home in 4th, and that is the nature of these plate races. I would have surely expected Wiggins to try and make a move for the win, but it is Ray Partridge with a new number coming home with the win at Talladega. Let's get your finishing results up on the board. Ray Partridge comes home with the EA Sports 500 trophy, and it's going to be Brian Wiggins who pushed him to that victory, and Tony Kurgel, after being hung out to dry about 20 times during this race, coming home in 3rd. Those are going to be your 3 interviewees: Partridge, Wiggins, and Kurgel. John Bittler had a great run throughout the entire race, comes home with a top 5. Can't complain with that. Mark Sakoshi, who is pushing that 88 car, rounds out your top 5 here at Talladega. Then it's going to be Adam DeFore, first car outside the top 5 in car number 5. And then Colton English, first car lap down. Justin Cope seemed to be very primed to lead this thing to the end, but a pit road mishap brought him back to 8th. Dawson Kent first car 2 laps down, and then Dylan Lansdale 9th and 10th respectively. Chris Norris comes home 3 laps down in 11th. Then it's Robert Wiggins and Jason Crumley. Andy Reeves had a great save earlier in the race, but that pushed him out of the draft, and he finishes 37 laps down. And then the people behind him did not finish this race. Nicholas Pressey and Jonathan Flournoy did not finish this race, and then Lyle Mitchell did not start this race. Please don't go anywhere. I will get interviews going in just 1 second with your top 3 finishers. Please stand by. Okay, and welcome back to the EA Sports 500. We have just concluded the race, and we are getting interviews underway. And let's get our race winner into the booth for his interview. It's going to be Ray Partridge coming home with the win in the first race of the second season of 2026 in the National Sim Racing Gen 4 Cup Series. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
So, how are you feeling, man? This is the first time I've caught you winning a race on a broadcast, and seemed like it was really difficult to get momentum going to get around those leaders. So, how you feeling after pulling off the win?
I feel pretty good about it. I mean, we Mark and John, they had a fast setup. We knew that going into it, and we just kind of we made a couple moves to pass them. We made a pass on the high side the one time, and we got the lead. And then they came back around us on the high side, and we did it again like a couple laps later. And that last pass, though, it was like we went high and we had the momentum. We went to the bottom, and then John went to the bottom and tried to block us. And I told Brian, I was like, I'm gonna just keep pushing John out in front and separate him and Mark, and we'll pass him on the last lap. And it worked.
And I tell you what, it worked to perfection. And in that last, let's say, 1,500 to 1,000 feet, as you're coming out of turn 4, you got Brian right behind you. Is there any doubt in your mind? Do you think that Mr. Wiggins is going to try and pull a fast one on you and pull alongside you to try to snatch the victory from you?
I feel like if he thought he could do it without one of us, without costing us the win, he probably would have done it. But I think we were stuck together there, and we're pushing for a team win.
And I tell you what, I would consider a 1-2 finish very much a team win. So before we let you go and celebrate your victory a little bit more, do you have any people or sponsors you want to thank?
I'd just like to thank Brian for running the team, and Adam, he ran with us all race there. We had good pit stops, and he got kind of shuffled back a little bit on that last few laps. Otherwise, I think we could have possibly had a 1-2-3. But yeah, thanks for the broadcast. Can't wait to listen to it.
Well, you are very welcome. I'm very happy to broadcast this very fun series. So we will see you next week at IRP.
Look forward to it.
And then we can get second place here, Brian Wiggins and car number 3. Let's get him into the booth. Brian Wiggins coming home in second. You got a copy?
Hey, how's it going, man? I got you, Garrett.
So you and Ray switched numbers over the off season, and it looks like it's paid off in spades with a 1-2 finish. Do you think that these might be your new lucky numbers, considering that last season it seems like you were always caught up in someone else's mess, and Ray was he could just not get outside or not get inside the podium, just in any race that I broadcasted, but things have seemed to turn around here with a 1-2 finish at Talladega. So how you feeling about that?
No, yeah, I feel great. I launched my own team. I got a lot of backing. Under the tutelage of Mark for many years, I've kind of learned how to set these things up. So I ventured out into my own, and we had to bring home the 1-2. It sucks for Adam and Dylan that we couldn't pull them along with us, but yeah, we'll take the 1-2. That was great.
So I asked Ray this, since it was you guys duking it out for the win coming to the stripe. In the last 1,500, 1,000 feet, as you're barreling out of turn 4, you can see the start finish line ahead of you. Is there any thought in your mind that you're going to try to pull high and try to slingshot past that 29 car to nose ahead for the victory, or were you just committed to pushing them all the way? Because Ray said that if you could have done it without costing both of y'all the win, you would have done it.
Yeah, I was just pushing him to first, second, I'm taking that all day, man. If the roles were reversed, I'd like to think the same thing. If he was pushing me, he would just keep pushing. So that's what I did.
And I tell you what, it paid off in spades with a 1-2 finish. So before we let you go and ride this good momentum into IRP next week, do you have any people or sponsors you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank John with this sponsorship. Obviously, I want to thank you. You do a great job up in the booth, and I got to thank my teammates, Ray, Partridge, Dylan Lansdale, Adam DeFore, and guy's not here, but he'll be here next week, James. So thank my teammates and my team, and we'll try and keep this thing headed in a good direction.
All right, looking forward to seeing it. That's Brian Wiggins, driver of car number 3, coming home in second place. We will see you next week at IRP, brother.
You got it. See ya.
All right. And finally, our last driver in the podium, it's going to be Tony Kurgel. Let's get him into the booth. Tony Kurgel coming home in third, continuing the good momentum from a championship winning season last season here in the National Sim Racing Cup Series. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
So it feels like at about 25 different times during this race, you were hung out to dry, and it seems like it was really tough to make anything happen on the outside line, and a lot of times you were the one trying to initiate something happen on the outside line. So how hard was it to get around that inside line?
It was extremely difficult. You know, the bubble with these cars, it's hard enough when you're the last car in line to just hold the draft. And I'm glad my car was able to. But yeah, I had no help out there, being one of the lonely Fords. Not a lot of guys willing to work with me, but you know, I try to jump out there and get something rolling. And it seemed to work out pretty good. But yeah, definitely not a lot of love out there for the number 13 car tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, even if there wasn't a lot of love, you pulled all the strings in the right places to salvage a great position with it, because we saw people losing the draft left and right, and you maintained staying in that pack. With the last round of pit stops, were you surprised to see people taking tires? Because with my experience in plate racing, if it's the last green flag pit stop, I'm taking as little fuel as possible and no tires to try and jump up some positions. But it looks like it gave you too much of a gap, because the people behind you were able to form up a lot quicker and just blow past you.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I definitely thought nobody was going to take tires. I thought on the first green flag pit stop nobody was going to take tires too, and it seemed like everyone I pit with did. So that was definitely surprising. Um and yeah, definitely got out way too far. Just they swallowed me up. I knew that was going to happen, but hey, I I I thought I made the right move. I was surprised for sure.
Well, it still paid off in a top 3 finish, so that's some real good start to your championship title defense, essentially. So before we let you go and ride this good momentum into IRP next week, do you have any people or sponsors you want to thank before we let you go?
You know, just gotta thank Mark and Lyle here for putting it on. Of like as always, thank you for putting on the broadcast, and uh, everyone else, you know, that puts this show on. We gotta appreciate them. And yeah, good win to Ray. He really drove a hell of a race.
All right. Well, that's championship defender Tony Kurgel in car number 13 coming home a very strong third place finish. We will see you next week at IRP.
Yes, sir.
All right. And with that out of the way, I can get this off your screen. I can change the camera to scenic. And that concludes today's broadcast of the National Sim Racing Gen 4 Cup Series EA Sports 500 here at Talladega. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast. I do apologize for the mishap in the first quarter of this race. It will not happen again, I promise. Big thank you to IRD Racing for sponsoring this. Big thank you to everyone who showed up in the race. Big thank you to Andrew Schulte and SKS Graphics for their ticker help and creation of this beautiful ticker. If you need help with tickers for iRacing broadcast, SKS Graphics and Andrew Schulte, you're people to go to for ticker help. And big thank you to David at Fireball Talks NASCAR for allowing me to broadcast this. And big thank you to you, the viewer, for watching and supporting Fireball Talks NASCAR and the National Sim Racing Gen 4 Cup Series. My name is Garrett Hess. You're watching Fireball Talks NASCAR. Next week on Saturday night, we'll be going to Indianapolis Raceway Park for some multi-groove short tracking action here in the Gen 4 Cup Series. We hope to see